Hi everyone, I'm talking to you today because, as you know, Dad has reached a big milestone. Yet another year when he has less gray hair than me. Oh, and I guess something a little more important, reaching the big 80 birthday. Heather had a great idea that we should take the opportunity to share a story or two about our memories of Dad as part of the celebration. So, in the way of providing fair warning, video testimonials, and for that matter, selfies, are not exactly in my wheelhouse. So this may be a bit clunky and shorter than hoped, but I'm going to give my best shot. So here we go. When I sat down to decide what to talk with you about, I honestly kind of struggled to come up with which memories to share with you. After all, I have 50-some years of memories of Dad, ranging from playing in the backyard at the house in Eureka, to camping and hiking in various places over the years, to playing cutthroat games of Uno last Christmas. But it occurred to me that the memories that come to mind most often when I think of Dad are those times we spent outside, enjoying nature. And of those, two that rise to the top as the most impactful are our camping trip to the Sierras and Jacob and I's first visit up to Alaska to go fishing in Valdez. Let's start with the camping trip in the Sierras. As I recall, it was the first time Dad and I went camping, just him and I. I could be wrong about that. Pretty sure I was a tween or a young teenager. So it's been a minute, as they say, but that's how I remember it. It was a big adventure for me. The first time I'd gone backpacking, carrying everything we needed with us, finding a camping spot along the way, etc. I experienced a lot on the trip, but probably the most meaningful was along the way I began to realize I was starting on the path to becoming an adult. For the first time I could recall, I was able to keep up with Dad when we were hiking up the side of the mountain, feeling like I was carrying my own weight and not feeling like I was a kid tagging along. And in fact, once when we stopped to rest, it was the first time I remember Dad being tired and I was ready to keep going. Now, as time has gone by and I became a father myself, it has dawned on me that I was probably carrying a lot less weight than Dad, and he might have stopped to rest because my youthfully arrogant self was looking like I was ready to pass out. But for me at the time, it felt like I was making that transition to adulthood. Of course, as it always does in life, that boost to my ego was short-lived. When later in the trip, we reached our camping spot, put up the tent, collapsed in exhaustion in it, and a pretty young lady ranger stopped by to check on us, asking, "Are you guys all right?" I was pretty embarrassed, but I was also too tired to care much. Anyway. Okay, on to our Alaska trip. Years later, Jacob and I had the opportunity to visit Mom and Dad in Alaska. It was one heck of a trip. We saw and did a lot, but one memory of the trip stands out for me. Dad took us over to Valdez to go fishing for salmon. Now, up until then, my experience with fishing was sitting around for hours with your line on the water, enjoying the scenery and tranquility, because actually getting a bite was an experience far and few between that was hoped for but rarely experienced. But there, for the first time in my life, fishing was not only fun, it was an adventure. Getting a bite was commonplace, and the highlights were fights to pull in big salmon. It was the most fun I'd ever had fishing, and it was honestly addictive in a way I'm not sure I can describe. I'm embarrassed to say I barely remember the amazing scenery. But better than that, by far, was watching Dad teaching Jacob to fish. It turned out that Jacob was natural. He took to fishing, well, like a fish to water, pun intended. The two of them were having a lot of fun together, and the experience was really formative for Jacob. If I had gotten not so much as a bite the entire day, but got to watch that, I honestly would have been okay with it. As it turned out, I did get lots of bites. And I got so caught up in the fun with the perpetual summertime daylight in Alaska, it was somewhere around 1 a.m. when I realized Jacob was fast asleep in the vehicle for who knows how long. I mention it because, while Dad might be in the running for Dad Grandpa of the Year, I have a long ways to go. Well, those are my 2 stories of memories of Dad. I hope you enjoyed them, and I hope you enjoy me in wishing Dad the happiest of birthdays on this big milestone. Thank you.